From the capital city of Ohio, we are in Columbus, and ESPN and the PBA present a format first in televised bowling. Welcome to the Don Johnson Buckeye State Eliminator, coming your way from Sequoia Pro Bowl. And thanks for spending part of your Sunday with us. I'm Rob Stone. Interesting format first for you today. We're going to begin with all four of our finalists bowling on the same pair of lanes, two separate oil patterns. Low score, eliminated. Top three move on. We do it all over again until our two finalists remain. Randy Peterson slides right on in, and I'm fired up for this one because this reminds me of old school wrestling tag team match where in the beginning it's essentially going to be the two lefties on the show taking on the two righties on the show.
And our two righties are Mika, Koivuniemi, and Chris Barnes, who just happen to be tour roommates. These notorious card-carrying lefty haters have been scheming all night and today as to how to manipulate the right side of the lane and eliminate the southpaws. Then they'll deal with each other in the title match. That's their plan. Our two left-handers, Mike Scroggins and Rhino Page, well, they weren't quite as verbal in their unification of trying to conspire to beat the righties. But I promise you, Scroggins and Page will have no problem sleeping tonight if it's an all-southpaw finale.
So we have a loaded field. Mike Scroggins, Mika Koivuniemi is making his first televised appearance. Chris Barnes, reigning player of the year, and Rhino Page, reigning rookie of the year in the PBA. Top three will advance to match number two. Again, low score eliminated. So guess what? It's time to shoe up, Randy. Eliminator match number one when we return. Plus, we elaborate on today's two-headed oil pattern.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by H&R Block, the official tax services provider of the PBA. H&R Block, you've got people. By Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free video. What will you discover? Go RVing. By Lumber Liquidators, hardwood flooring for less. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save 15% on your car insurance. Visit Geico.com.
We welcome you back to the 9th PBA Tour event held here in Columbus, Ohio. It is the Don Johnson Buckeye State Eliminator, so it's a different format. And we have two oil patterns. Here's your Lumber Liquidators, Know the Wood.
Scorpion and Viper. Scorpion 42 feet, Viper 38 feet. On the Viper pattern, you have more hook. Look for the players to play further out and use less aggressive equipment. On the Scorpion pattern, stronger equipment. Look for the players to play more towards the track area. But again, this is going to boil down to how well the righties were able to set up their shot and if the lefties were able to do the same.
And Mika Koivuniemi will start us off, which is a little interesting in that he was the number 2 seed. Mike Scroggins was the 1 seed, so he had the choice, if you will, on where he wanted to bowl, and he decided not to start, but to let one of the righties start, and that righty starting on a left lane, which again is the Scorpion oil pattern. Mika Koivuniemi making his first televised appearance of this season. He has lost his last 5 matches on television. Big Finn starts with the strike.
And Rob, you're right. It's hard to believe that we're seeing Mika for the first time this season.
This is 9th top 20 finish of the season, 4th top 10. Here is Mike Scroggins, 17th year on the tour from Amarillo, Texas. Thursday, he celebrates his 45th birthday. So the lefty matches with the strike of his own. 5 tour title victories for Mike Scroggins. So just as quickly as Scroggins drops the strike, up comes the third finalist, Chris Barnes, your second righty. It is going to be a lot of bowling for the first couple segments of our broadcast.
You are right.
Three balls, 3 strikes. Chris Barnes, your defending champion here. The last time he won a title was back here in Columbus near the tail end of last season. And your 4th and final finalist, 25-year-old Rhino Page, his 2nd year on the tour, looking for his 3rd Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour title. Dare I say we opened up with the ham bone?
Don't say it, Rob. Don't say it.
I don't know if that qualifies for one. So I don't know. What do we make out of frame number 1? Nothing but strikes.
Well, if there was one more bowler in the league, you'd call it a beer frame if the 5th strike was thrown. That's a new one for you, isn't it, Pards?
And I like it. I like it a lot. And the messenger can't kick the 10. Koivuniemi has won 8 tour titles, 2 of the majors.
A lot of pin action, 10-pin stands late, and you can already see the difference in the 2 oil patterns, the way the players are attacking them. Mika Koivuniemi using 2 different bowling balls on each lane. But remember, the theme for this show, this tournament, is low man out. And the players are going to be looking at the scoreboard from start to finish. They'll know exactly what they need to do with each and every shot because all they have to do is beat one guy to advance.
And we're talking about kind of the team play at the outset of the broadcast. You see Mika Koivuniemi and Chris Barnes are having their conversations. They happen to be seated next to one another, and they are definitely teaming up as we wait for Mike Scroggins and his effort. There's Barnes and Mika on the left. Scroggins, his effort in the second, coming off a strike in the first.
And there again, it holds true for the left side of the lane. Mike Scroggins going with a sanded bowling ball on the left, a shining bowling ball on the right. This left lane, the scorpion pattern, longer in length, more oil, and it's slicker. Looking for our first double here, Pards. After 2 frames, Mika Koivuniemi, Mike Scroggins, all even with 20 in the first. Chris Barnes can jump out to an early lead with a strike here.
Barnes making his 3rd consecutive telecast after finishing 3rd 2 weeks ago, the plastic ball, and 5th last week in Indianapolis. Leaves the 7.
Early on, it looks like the players have a good blueprint for both lanes. They hit the pocket with every shot. The only issue right now is a little bit of pin carry, but it's still early, and Chris Barnes likes that shot. You know, that'll carry for him 8 out of 10 times.
So everybody started off with strikes in the first frame, and so far it has been 9 spares across the board in frame number 2. Here's your 4th finalist and your 2nd lefty, Rhino Page. Back-to-back jacks for Page. And he is in the lead. Again, low man eliminated of these 4 finalists. So you take a look at the standings, if you will, and if it was done right now, Page would move on, and we'd have some form of a bowl-off, I would assume, between the 3.
Some form of a 3-man
Some form of tiebreaker would be thrown out at us. Strike, spare, strike for Koivuniemi, man who resides now in Heartland, Michigan, but born in Finland. See what he's done so far. Can max out at 280. The 03-04 Player of the Year, again making his first televised appearance. Here's Mike Scroggins, your number 1 seed. Strike, spare, strike.
Boy, what a nice comeback last night for Mike Scroggins in the round of 8. against Michael Fagan, down by some 40 pins, and throws the last 4 strikes. Took advantage of a couple of open frames late by Michael Fagan to get here today.
Barnes knocks down his second strike of this match. Just 1-6 on television this season and 0 for his last 5. That's one of those good news, bad news deals. You know, good news that you're making television, which means you're making money and you're bowling well. But once the lights come on, it has not been up to his standard.
Well, I think there's a common theme with all 4 players today that they've all had their own struggles on television as of late.
Rhino Page looking to open up with a 3-bagger. Whoa.
And the early leader will fall behind if he's unable to convert the 6-7-10 split. Looks like he's stuck just a little bit, and a lot of times when you stick at the foul line, the tendency is to grab and pull, and that's exactly what happened on that shot.
Avoids the 7. First open frame of Eliminator match number 1. When we return, 3 move on, 1 is done. Hey fans, PBA.com and On the Ball Bowling have teamed up to allow you to create and personalize your very own bowling ball or pin. Just upload any special photo or logo to create your exclusive one-of-a-kind item. Simply click on the Shop tab at PBA.com and choose customizable bowling products. I already have the Randy Peterson pin collection. All 10 pins with your face on them. Very excited. It was a great early birthday gift.
You need to get a hobby.
Yes, I do. While we stepped away, Mika Koivuniemi with a strike, Scroggins and Barnes both with 9 spares. Here's Rhino Page, last effort in the 4th. So Page bounces back with a strike after that open frame in the 3rd. He had the lead, lost it, and he is now in last place. If the match was over right now, Rhino Page would be done, and Barnes, Scroggins, Koivuniemi would move on to Eliminator match number 2. The lefty's worst nightmare, Mika Koivuniemi. Did not like that on the release.
Yeah, and that was just a bad shot. That was the full yank left. A little bit more loft than he would have liked, probably because his hand stayed in the ball too long, and he pays the price. Now Mika looking to slide the 4 into the 10 to stay clean and avoid his first open frame.
His first open frame, 2nd of this match. And again, you don't have to win. You just have to beat somebody.
You just don't want to be last.
So here's Mike Scroggins, who's gone strike, 9 spare, strike, 9 spare. And Scroggins playing with some advice from the missus. His wife, Melanie, was with him the last time he was on television in Vegas and said, you know what, you need a little more energy when you're out there on television. So she recommended some caffeinated beverages. Scroggy picked one up today.
Slow it down a little.
Maybe he's got too much caffeine in it.
I was just going to say, now this one just kind of scoots by just a little bit, but again, he gets a nice break and only leaving the 3-pin, and it should be another 9 spare for Mike Scroggins.
Scroggins remains clean, but 3 spares in the opening 5 frames for him. Here is the defending player of the year up next after Scroggins, Chris Barnes, as the fourth highest average this season, does Barnes, at 222.19. 10 tour titles, 2 majors. Looking for his first title of this season.
This is breaking down. That one's carrying down.
Well, what Chris means by that is the front part of the lane on the left lane is starting to break down, which makes the bowling ball hook early. The right lane, the oil is actually moving down the lane, which is giving that lane the appearance that it's getting slicker.
Scout hit it. Anybody see it?
You need to respot the 4-pin on the left lane.
So while they respot the 4-pin, we take a look at the latest Player of the Year points race. Wes Malott still on top. Norm Duke trailing him. The top 10 advance to the special PBA King of Bowling powered by Amp Energy. That will take place in Lake Wales, Florida. And as of now, here, the 10 guys that would be participating in that takes place just after the U.S. Open. Talking about the Player of the Year, Rhino Page is in 4th place. A win today would move him up to 44 points, but still in 4th place behind Malott, Duke, and Patrick Allen. Mike Scroggins and Chris Barnes could make big jumps. Scroggy, if he wins, could go all the way up to 4th. Barnes could move all the way up to 5th.
They have to.
Got to clear those pins off the deck. Only the 4-pin can be standing or be anywhere.
There we go.
I mean, I can get back there and crawl and knock those things out of the way if it's
with those
slow us up any longer.
And with those other pins on the deck like that, you have a much better chance of making the 4-pin, Rob.
Give the guy a perk for having to wait this long. So the 4 finally falls. And for Barnes, that's back-to-back spares. So he and Mike Scroggins, identical matches so far. And here's Rhino Page, 3 strikes but an open frame in the 3rd.
Let it go.
You heard him say, let it go,
on this lane, huh?
right before the approach. What did he mean by that?
Well, not grab it. Just be confident, let it go, and try to hit your target. Let the ball do the work. But right here, this one breaks loose and goes through the nose, and he catches a nice break. This ball goes high. Boy, that could have been 5 or 6 real easy. A strike there would have put Rhino Page back in the lead. A spare, he will be the low man by 1 pin.
He's spent a lot of time lately working on his physical game. He was telling us a lot of props he gave out to his coach, Ron Hatfield. In fact, PBA has next week off, and then they return to Norwich, Connecticut, and a lot of guys are going home, spending time with the family. Rhino Page is staying right here. He's going to golf and practice and head to Norwich to try and defend his title. And I love how he just whips that spare ball down.
That's a common theme for most of the professionals out here. They generally switch to a plastic spare ball and just bring the heat. And that's a really good tip for the folks at home that struggle with spares. Our players do it because they bowl on such demanding oil patterns that it just takes all the guesswork out. All you have to do now is just throw it in a straight line. You don't have to worry about the bowling ball reacting to an oil pattern.
We begin the 6th. Timely strike for the Big Fin as he takes a seat, discusses it with his partner, in quotation marks, Chris Barnes. Again, 2 righties and 2 lefties here in Eliminator match number 1. And we talked at the beginning, the 2 righties, roommates on the road, and pretty much devised a plan to try and eliminate the lefties so that the 2 righties meet in the final.
Oh, that's an awful break.
Oh, man. Threw it good.
Check this out. This ball is absolutely high flush. The only thing left standing is the solid 9. The only good news about that is he wasn't working on a strike. So Mike Scroggins will look to stay clean with another 9 spare here. Well done. Rod, you're talking about the scheme, the plan of the right-handers trying to eliminate the left-handers. And the way they went about it was they came up with a strategy as to how to break the oil patterns down in practice, where they were going to practice, what type of equipment they were going to use, how much surface they were going to use to try to build a spot for them on both lanes and try to help their bowling balls get to the 1-3 pocket on a more consistent basis.
Cross out.
Third strike for Chris Barnes, yet to pair any together. That one looked pretty pure.
Watch the 6-pin go to the sidewall, just snap the 10 out, and he knows it's getting a little bit late in the match and it's time to start stringing strikes.
And these guys, like you mentioned, have done scoreboard watching from the beginning of this match. Just don't want to finish in last, and you can regroup in match number 2. Fourth strike of the match for your reigning Rookie of the Year, Rhino Page. Born with the name Ryan. And he said, the only people who call me Ryan these days are my grandparents, and they always try and remember to call me Rhino. He got the name Rhino. Do you know how he got the name?
I don't.
T-ball coach. Growing up in the San Diego area, he had such a fierce attitude that the T-ball coach said, forget the Ryan thing, you're a Rhino. And it just stuck with him.
Somehow that's frightening to me.
Seems right, though, too, doesn't it?
I think when it starts at T-ball, that it may be maybe something else there. I know he's real intense on the lanes. Off the lanes, though, I love him. Really happy-go-lucky guy.
I love him. Yeah, I think they have medication for kids these days if they have to have their name changed from Ryan to Rhino. So Page in last right now after 6. Takes the lead with a strike. There's Mika Koivuniemi, and he is on top right now.
And again, anytime you have pin carry like this, you know that you're doing the right things. There's the 6 again, cutting the 10 out, and that's a big-time double, 6th and 7th frame from Mika Koivuniemi.
His second pair of strikes here in Eliminator match number 1. Mike Scroggins, your number 1 seed, has bowled 3 consecutive 9 spares. Here he is in the 7th. There we go, Mike. Much needed third strike of the match for Scroggy.
And prior to that shot, Mike Scroggins was low on the totem pole in terms of the amount of strikes thrown in this match. That gives him his 3rd strike, but keep in mind that solid 9 that he left in the 6th frame. Let's see if that will loom large later in this match.
Koivuniemi on top right now. Barnes can reclaim that lead with a strike here in the 7th. Advantage, Barnes.
Boy, that was perfect. And now Rhino Page is getting very close to the must-strike scenario. He is trailing. Everybody else is working on strikes. He's working on a strike, needs to convert here to give himself a double and get him back into the 200s.
Oof.
Well, it's not 4.
Yeah, Page has had some bizarro scores this week. Had a 158 in qualifying and a 135 in the Eliminator rounds earlier this week.
And this was wide left, and not a real good time to have your worst shot creep up on television. If he converts, he will be the low man out, trailing Mike Scroggins by 3.
A mandatory spare conversion there for Page. Barnes on top. Koivuniemi in second. Mike Scroggins 9 back, and Rhino Page 14 back through 7 frames. Again, the top 3 move on to match number 2, where we'll do it all over again on these same 2 oil patterns. Three-bagger for Mika.
Now, I'm not real good with my Finnish language, but I think latte means carry. You speak Finnish?
I barely speak English on some days.
You know who I learned that from?
Who?
Dave Ryan, who filled in for you last week.
Great job having Rhino back.
He did a great job.
He's such a good man.
Yes, he is. Here's a guy looking for a little carry right here in the 8th frame, working on a strike. Got it.
This is 5th TV show of the season for Mike Scroggins as Rhino Page sits back, and as of now, he's the odd man out. Scroggins looking to claim titles in back-to-back seasons for just the first time in his 17-year career. That one was worthy of a star and a highlighter last night by me. I really found that one surprising.
Especially for as many telecasts as he makes each season.
Barnes to retake the lead. So the righty's in real good shape. It is almost a lefty versus lefty duel right now to not be eliminated.
And Mike Scroggins is working on a double. Rhino Page is not. And Rhino Page right now, 8th frame, is looking for oxygen.
Rhino Page up now, and he will close out this first match as well.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Right now, the 2 right-handers, Mika Koivuniemi and Chris Barnes, are looking to move on to the next match. Mike Scroggins is now breathing easier. Rhino Page is in a really bad spot.
Not a spot he can't get out of, but he needs this. He doesn't get it. His second open frame. He had one in the 3rd as well.
Tough spot for Rhino Page now, because if he strikes out in the 9th and 10th, the best he can shoot is 202. Mike Scroggins is already in the high 200s. Mika Koivuniemi is in the 2 teens, and so is Chris Barnes. Mika Koivuniemi and Chris Barnes, they need to just fill frames. Marks in the 9th and 10th, it does not matter what Rhino Page does. They will advance. Mike Scroggins, with one more strike in the 9th frame, can almost seal the deal for himself. Man, what a huge break that was.
Slow.
Had the big 4 staring at him, trips to 6-10 late. Mika, who prides himself on his spare conversions, should be able to convert this 4-7 without a problem. But look at that huge break.
Wow. What a late kick on that 10.
All right. Mike Scroggins gets up now, working on a double. Can almost seal the deal for his own cause with a strike here, because it'll put him in the 2 teens. Big shot coming up right now.
Currently 3rd, and that is just good enough to move on. Leaves the 7.
God. Maybe a little carry.
Yeah, he's had no carry this game, but again, he needs a spare, and then 9 spare 9 in the 10th frame, and he moves on no matter what Rhino Page does. And Rob, Chris Barnes getting up now in the 9th frame. All he needs to do is just stay out of his own way. A mark of any kind here in the 9th, a mark of any kind in the 10th frame, he advances.
Two-time All-American at Wichita State. We're going to talk some collegiate bowling a little later in our broadcast. A heavy collegiate feel with our 3 of our 4 finalists here having bowled collegiately here in the States.
Chris Barnes has locked it up. He will move on.
The worst song ever.
Apparently Barnes not a big fan
of that song. But everybody adores the phrase.
As far as you know.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, boy.
Must strike situation for Rhino Page.
Coming off an open frame 9 in the 8th. Come on, youngster.
Never know. Well, you're right, Rhino. You don't. You still have some life. You can take Chris Barnes out of the equation. He's moving on. All he has to do is keep it on the lane in the 10th frame. Mika Koivuniemi is in the 2 teens. However, remember his last shot, he almost left the big 4. A big 4 in this situation may prove costly for Mika Koivuniemi.
Gets them all to kick on the right lane.
Mika Koivuniemi will move on as well. The 2 right-handers have accomplished what they set out to do, at least in this match, and that's to move on. 1 left-hander, 1 southpaw will be eliminated. Will it be Rhino Page or Mike Scroggins?
We saw the facial expression on Mika Koivuniemi as he kind of had that frightened look. He was taking some back steps and almost fell off a little ledge onto the lap of Chris Barnes.
Well, they are tour roommates, so it's okay. It doesn't matter. Open frame here. He's still in the 2 teams. Best again, Rhino Page can only shoot 202. It's all going to come down to Mike Scroggins and what he does in the 10th frame.
He takes a seat and moves on. Rhino Page may be moving on as well, but not in the direction he wants. So Scroggins, who entered as the 1 seed, needs just a mark and some favorable count to move on. Just his 5th strike of this match, and the numbers are not working in Rhino Page's favor right now.
Needs 6 and 2 balls. I think Mike Scroggins can handle it. Rhino Page's day is going to come to an end. Now the question is, can Mike Scroggins figure out a way to carry better in our next matchup going up against the 2 right-handers?
There's his 2nd pair of strikes. Scroggins moves on to join the 2 righties, Chris Barnes and Mika Koivuniemi.
And Rob, you know, this may work out into Mike Scroggins' favor because now he's the lone left-hander, no more traffic. Chris Barnes and Mika Koivuniemi, well, they're going to have to battle through a little bit of transition. They're still using aggressive sanded equipment. The lanes are going to change more drastically.
That's all right.
On the right side of the lane. This could be right in Mike Scroggins' wheelhouse.
Oh, boy.
From an oh boy to an oh yeah.
Well, he's a little bit surprised with that. He felt that it was a bit right of where it needed to be to get to the pocket, and that may be an eye-opener for Chris Barnes in this next match.
Well, speed bowling here as Rhino Page steps up, fires one down. Chris Barnes, the defending champ. He has never successfully defended a title, and he will still have that chance today here in Columbus. A defiant 10. Rhino Page will spend the week here in Columbus practicing, getting sharp for 2 weeks from today, Norwich, Connecticut. Another fun format there in Norwich. And again, Rhino Page, your defending champ.
230 actually advances. That's fun.
In Norwich, Connecticut. So Barnes will take a seat with a 238. Scroggins will actually end up in second with a 216. Koivuniemi with a 212. Rhino Page finishes strong, but he's done.
Good luck, buddy.
So Page, the low man out. Barnes, Scroggins, Koivuniemi move on. When we return, a reflection back on the Hall of Fame career of the namesake of our tournament, Don Johnson. Chris Barnes still alive to defend that title in C-Bus. Back in Columbus, where we focus now on the man who this tournament is named in honor of, the late Don Johnson.
And the Kokomo kid was cut right out of the same mold as Dick Weber. Grew up in Kokomo, Indiana, lived in Akron for many years, voted the 8th greatest player of all time, and who can forget his 299 voted the most memorable moment of all time at the 1970 Tournament of Champions, as voted on by the Bowler's Journal.
Solid 10, Chris. Unbelievable. And the very last ball, Don Johnson, a tremendous hit. There's Marianne Johnson.
And Don Johnson was a huge student of the game. He had some 10,000 videotapes. He studied the men, the women, the seniors, and that's what he based all of his teachings on. I think, in my opinion, the greatest coach that's ever lived.
PBA Player of the Year in 71 and 72, 26 career tour titles, 2 career majors. And his son Jimmy carrying on his name and carrying on a great cause. Earlier in the day, a check for just over $37,000 made to the Nationwide Children's Hospital in the battle against juvenile diabetes. And there is a look at Jimmy Johnson. Thank you for all you've done, Jimmy. Great work. And Eliminator match number 2 when we return. It's a handicap match, if you will. 2 righties versus the lone remaining lefty, Mike Scroggins.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us. By Denny's, where America's favorite breakfast is now available to go. Real breakfast 24/7. By CLR. CLR. All kinds of dirty, one kind of clean. And by H&R Block, the official tax services provider of the PBA. H&R Block. You've got people.
And we're just a few miles away from the campus of the Ohio State University. ESPN and PBA continuing live coverage of the 2009 Don Johnson Buckeye State Eliminator. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson, glad you're with us here on this Sunday from Columbus. Eliminator match number 1 in the books. We started all over again. 3 that remain. 1 will leave after the end of this match. 2 righties, Chris Barnes and Mika Koivuniemi. Tour roommates trying to gang up on the lone lefty, Mike Scroggins.
The job is almost complete for these 2.
With a little devilish snicker at the end. Mika rolled a 212 in Eliminator match number 1, complemented by 7 strikes. He finished 3rd. Mike Scroggins finished 2nd, but since he is the number 1 seed coming into today, he still has lane He still has selection on where he wants to bowl, and he picked again the 2 spot. And he finished second with a 216 in match 1. That is the transmitter on the microphone device, and he goes to Chris Barnes, who unattaches it. Chris is doing some utility work on the side for us, apparently. He's very talented. And now Chris Barnes steps up, and it's interesting. The seats have been moved or adjusted. In match number 1, the 2 righties were sitting together, and now Mika Koivuniemi has been moved over, and he is essentially sharing the space with Scroggins.
It's got to pain him. He's very vocal about not caring for southpaws.
Yeah, I don't get it. What did the lefties do to him in his early childhood in Finland? Barnes, boy, he's on a bit of a roll right now. He won match number 1 with a 238, had 7 strikes, including 5 in a row, which began in the 6th frame.
Early double for Mika. Chris Barnes started with a strike. Mike Scroggins 9 spare in the 1st frame. So early on, he's in the hole. Remember, low score is out. There was only 2 300 games this week on these 2 oil patterns. One by Parker Bone III, a southpaw.
And the other by ace statistician Mike Edwards.
The best in the business.
And he nods in agreement. So Scroggins gets back on the strike train.
This guy's very resilient. You know, don't count Mike Scroggins out. The only thing missing on his resume is wins. You know, with only 5 titles, the amount of shows that he makes, it's not a real high winning percentage on television. But again, watching him yesterday, going through the elimination rounds, he is very, very resilient.
Barnes drops an opening deuce.
He's cleaning himself off for something. Somebody get that man a lint brush. This is why you throw 16 pounds and you put revolutions on it. You hit him thin and watch him spin, Rob.
I like that.
You can use that one.
I have enough poorly executed catchphrases. Mika likes. Mika drops the opening 3-bagger in front of his family. The misses on the far left, Lena, and the beautiful daughters Ida and Lydia. He is not going to enjoy their high school years, I can tell you that right now.
All I can say is good luck.
Yeah.
Okay?
It'll take a strong man to deal with that. Scroggins in the 2nd, down 20 after 2 frames. Come on, Messenger! Just slid in front of the 7.
Just carry issues so far for Mike Scroggins. He's getting to the pocket as much as the right-handers, but it's all about pin carry for him thus far.
How do you change the pin carry issues?
Well, it looks like on the right lane he needs to get just a little bit softer to get his ball to face up a little bit stronger in the pocket. I think the left lane for Mike Scroggins is fine, and that's why he chose to start on the right lane and finish on the left. The issue for him is the right lane.
So Scroggins, spare strike, spare. Now Chris Barnes, again the defending champion here in Columbus. He's never defended a title. Looking to open up with a turkey. Whoop, boy, into the schnozola.
Wow, did you see that ball check up in the front part of the lane?
And he's staring a 3.67 to try and remain clean.
I mean, that was instant hook early.
Cow, that hook early.
See, even Chris said it hooked early. Now he's going to try to get the ball to the right side of the 3-pin, slide it over into the 7. The ball will take care of the 6. Trying to avoid that open frame.
Oh, great pickup from Barnes. Wonderful execution. And the two righties with a little fist bump. They're ganging up on Scroggins.
It's a conspiracy.
The conclusion of Eliminator match number 2. And the Go RV and RV fires up for an East Coast road trip when we return. Time to fire up the RV. After a 1-week hiatus, the PBA returns to the Norwich Bowling and Entertainment Center in Connecticut for the all-match play format. The 2 finalists will compete in a 3-game total pinfall match for the title. Rhino Page, your defending champion. That we head on down to Strong Island, the Bowling Foundation Long Island Classic. Special 2 p.m. start time on ESPN for that one. Tour's second to last event of the season. Tommy Jones returns to defend his title. While we stepped away, Mika Koivuniemi had a pair of strikes, so he is perfect through 5. Mike Scroggins also struck in the 4th and the 5th. Chris Barnes had his second spare, that in the 4th, and here is his effort in the 5th. Third strike of the match for Barnes.
And there's your adjustment off the early hook he got the last time he was on that left lane. Remember, Chris Barnes had the highest score in our first elimination match with 238. Mika Koivuniemi now perfect through 5. Mike Scroggins back in the game with his first double.
Max Weekly Update focusing on Mika Koivuniemi. Last week in Indy finished 17th. Again, this is his first televised finals of the season. And he's perfect through 5. Crack open that 6-pack. Tastes so good when it hits the lips.
Wow. This is a great shot here. This is 10 back. Bang! Mika Koivuniemi eyeing the title match. Remember, low man out. Right now, Mika Koivuniemi is in the 240s. Mike Scroggins in the 200s, along with Chris Barnes.
Mike Scroggins looking for 3 in a row. He's on the left lane right now, the scorpion oil pattern. Come on,
well, that's his good lane, too, and when he can't carry on his good lane, that's enough to get you frustrated. He's just got to keep his wits about him, cover his spare, and just keep grinding.
One of the real good people on the tour.
Maybe
Maybe
really
not quite a huge fan favorite, but I'm always happy to see Mike Scroggins. Always a smile on his face.
That guy there doesn't have a bad bone in his body. I mean, he just goes about his business and makes a lot of shows, and he's not the flashiest guy out here, but what a great player.
Great family man as well. He's flying home, and for the week, his son has a baseball tournament in Dallas. His son, Ross, 12 years old, so he's going home, but he's not even get to go home. Get home and go watch baseball all week with his family, which sounds actually like a great week. Here's Chris Barnes looking for his 4th strike of this match and 2nd in a row. So with that strike, Barnes leapfrogs Scroggins. Top 2 move on. So the righty unification is working very well so far. Plenty more bowling to go. There will be no perfect game.
Get out of it, come.
I jinxed him as soon as I flipped through my little TV notes about all-time 300 games on television, and I said in my head, oh, that might have just ended that run for Mika.
Well, that was the...
Didn't even have to say it.
That was the full Yankee shot, again, on that same left lane. Mika did it in the last match, but 3-6-10 is not the easiest spare to shoot at, especially on television. Covered nicely. Now, if Mike Scroggins can get some pin carry, he can really make a statement and put some pressure on Chris Barnes. He's left a swishing 7-pin in the first. 10-pin. He left a 7-pin in the third and a ringing 7 in the sixth. Everything else was strikes. Mike Scroggins could have easily had the front 6 as well.
This is 7th top 10 finish of this season. There you go, Scroggy. The party may still be on at Scroggy's. Four strikes to go with 3 9 spares for Mike Scroggins. Here is Chris Barnes. He opened up with a pair of strikes and is now rolling in the 7th off a pair of strikes.
Back on him.
And again, you hear
just
the gamesmanship. Again, back on him. I mean, this is clearly Barnes and Koivuniemi versus Scroggins.
You know what? They're not going to be invited to the next party at Scroggy's. I can tell you that right now.
And I tell you what, the bouncer will have photographs of Barnes and Koivuniemi and say, out.
Yeah.
Only lefties and Rob and Randy at the party.
That's right.
I'll bring the dip. Oof. Almost 7-10 as he tells himself, calm down, slow down.
Well, and again, avoids an open frame here by tripping the 7 light. This could have been a strike just as easily, but, you know, Mika Koivuniemi is in the 240s right now. But keep in mind that Mike Scroggins can still strike out for 249. So let's not count out our last lone southpaw just yet.
Mike Scroggins, 44 years, just 4 days shy of his 45th birthday. So he's got at least 2 more years left here on the PBA Tour. It'll probably bowl the seniors as well.
Well, now it's the left lane that's got him. Ringing 7 in the 6th, flat 7 in the 8th. No pin cooperation for him today. Scroggins now looking for a little help.
And he's going to have to get it from a righty. Barnes or Mika are going to have to roll something ugly to give him an opening. And if the 2 tour roommates, the 2 lefties, move on, there is a very interesting side bet floating out there. The 2 righties, I should say. That we'll discuss a little bit later, should that happen.
You know, Rob, it's starting to look like the righties have done a pretty good job of setting up the oil patterns, because Chris Barnes is now in the 230s with that 4-bagger. Mika Koivuniemi's in the 240s. He started with the front 6. Job well done, boys.
They've been scheming since yesterday afternoon when they knew they were going to be rolling. They were scheming through the night. His roommates back at their hotel, scheming this morning during warm-ups, scheming during practice. And that's not a knock on Mike Scroggins or Rhino Page. It's not like they have ill will against them. They're just saying, if we are to win, this is how we have to do it. We literally have to join forces to get to the finals, and then we'll separate.
Right, and they felt that was their only chance because, Chris said that he didn't feel that they had a chance unless they did something to set up the lanes on the right side. And you really got to feel for Mike Scroggins because, you know, I know it looks like the right-handers ganged up on him, but you know what? It's all about strategy in this format, and they took advantage of it. But to Mike's credit, he's bowled very well, just no pin carry. He's got 9 spares 5 times in this game and 4 strikes. And he's not missed the pocket. And unfortunately, his angle of attack isn't as good as the right-handers.
This is shaping up to be Scroggins' second third-place finish of the season. He's been a runner-up twice and finished 4th as well. Chris Barnes looking for his first title of the season. He is the defending champ here in Columbus.
Got a handful of that one.
Looking for 5 in a row. Does not get it.
Oh.
And remember, if Chris should meet Mika for the title, they actually bowled against each other here last year in a semifinal match where Mika opened in the 10th frame to give Barnes the win. Barnes went on to win the tournament.
Barnes won that one 222 to 213 and then went on to beat Ken Samard for the title. I'd like to see Ken Samard on a show again soon. He's fun to watch.
The human mitt.
Man, he's awesome.
Love Kenny Samard.
Yeah.
Now, it's all fun and games right now for the 2 right-handers. Probably not going to be like that in the title match.
No.
What do you think? Well, it's all but over now. Mika Koivuniemi is a lock. He can throw one more strike and he'll be in the 260s. Mike Scroggins can strike out for 218. And Chris Barnes is already at 215 with a first strike in the 10th frame. So it looks to me like it's going to be an all right-handed title match. It should be a good one.
We see Chris Barnes holding some sharp slacks. There is a reason for that. The 2 roommates, pretty much every year they have some kind of side bet. Last year it was about a dye job going blonde on television. This year, if the 2 happen to meet in a televised final, the loser of that match would have to wear those pants the next time they're on television. So it looks like we're about set to have the Eliminator Pants Championship here in Columbus.
Okay.
The scary part is, in your closet, I know you have those pants, but in the Daisy Duke jeans shorts collection.
What is wrong with you?
You look good in Madras.
You know what? You have shorts that look like that, and you told me before we went on the air that you have shorts that look like that. Come on, Mike Scroggins, throw another strike.
You have no
Hold your
proof
head
of
up.
that.
Hold that chin up. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You had a great week. And this is not the last time you'll see this guy, trust me. Just a great player out here, and I wouldn't be surprised if he won another title before the end of the season. Now they go down, and that's the way it always works. When you're out of it, you get up in the 10th frame, and every ball strikes.
So 6 frames. He's doing the math. He's trying to see if he could carry a couple more 10s or 20s over onto his scoreboard.
About the only chance he has now is striking here on his fill shot, and then as Chris Barnes gets up to attempt the 10th frame, it's the old club in the knee routine.
One of the lefties, maybe Parker Bone III or PA, will jump over the boards. Part of the lefty mafia.
Right in the kneecap.
Hey, kicks another one. So he closes with 3, does Mike Scroggins. And at 218, 2 better than his score in Eliminator match number 1. So Koivuniemi has locked up a berth in the title. Barnes needs just 7 to move on. It'll be an all-righty final for sure.
What you've seen today is a lot of great talent, a lot of versatility, a lot of shot making. The scores this week were not high by any means. These two right-handers, Mika, Koivuniemi, and Chris Barnes, came into this telecast today with a game plan, and it's worked. Now they'll go at each other for the title.
So Koivuniemi and his road roommate, Chris Barnes, move on to the title match. Mike Scroggins, 218, not enough. 2 down, 2 remain. We get you set for the final next, plus a look at bowling on the collegiate level. We welcome you back to Columbus. There's a live look at Tim Voth, the proprietor here at Sequoia Pro Bowl. And Liz Kello, are you watching in Florida? How about a date, June 10th? Does that work for you, Liz? Yeah, he's engaged, but he is proposing a marriage date. Nice job, Tim. Our partners at the United States Bowling Congress are involved with bowling at every level, from those early junior tournaments all the way to the PBA Tour. The chances all the greats have bowled a USB event or two are pretty high, but there's one level that is really starting to shine.
College is a special time, a time to go out on your own, meet new people, and perhaps experiment with some questionable style choices.
The mullet, the Clark Kent specs, it's obvious I needed a few friends in college to kind of say, hey, that's not working for you.
A college bowler is never short on friends. And it's that team atmosphere that makes the college game so rewarding and so terrifying.
It's the only time you can get happy for somebody else. Yeah, there's definitely a big anxiety factor when it comes to college bowling. I mean, you get up in the 10th frame and it goes bad. You turn around, you see those disappointed looks from everybody. It's not a good feeling.
Oh! It's exactly that pressure and experience that prepares an athlete for the next level.
Not very many people at 18 or 19 are ready to come out on tour, so the experience is so beneficial. I think that anybody that misses that end it has a tough road.
I'd probably say the coaching prepped me the most. All the people that I bowled with, actually, I've still crossed paths with after college bowling, so that's helped a lot too.
Take a look at today's tour and you'll see a who's who of college bowling's past. And there's little question that those players are building bowling's future.
It's nice because we're building through those programs of high school bowling to collegiate bowling, and then, you know, some of the guys are lucky enough to make it to Team USA, and there's a new era of players.
I'm not sure I can get enough of the old Chris Barnes retro.
Was that the old mullet team?
Oh,
what was that?
Lord. That was wonderful, in a heavy collegiate feel here amongst our 4 finalists. Barnes at Wichita State, Mike Scroggins at West Texas State, Rhino Page won it all in 04 as a member of the Kansas team. All right, time now for our Geico Championship recap. Randall?
You got it, Robbie. Our match number 1, Chris Barnes led the way with 238, stringing a 4-bagger along the way. Rhino Page had 2 open frames. He was eliminated. And in match number 2, the righties continued to gang up on the lone southpaw, Mika Koivuniemi, a big 266. Mike Scroggins, 218. He was the lone man out.
So it is Koivuniemi versus Barnes, the title match. Commercial-free from Columbus of the first ever Eliminator Championship is next.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Etonic, the official footwear of the PBA, by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us. By Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free video. What will you discover? Go RVing. And by Lumber Liquidators. Hardwood flooring for less.
Welcome back to Columbus, and we are just moments away from our title match. Rob Stone, welcome back from your 1-week hiatus. and the birth of your new child, Ciara. And how about a little shout out for Corbin Daly, our producer. This is his last show of the season. Corbin and Lori, they just had little baby Gavin a little over a month ago.
Anybody else with kids that we need to shout out to?
That's it, man. I just like to take care of my favorite people.
I'm touched. Well, Mika's got a strong following here in Columbus. Only about a 4-hour jaunt from his home in Heartland, Michigan. Usually people in Columbus and the entire state of Ohio not all that welcoming to those from the state of Michigan. Barnes matches him with an opening strike. Again, more than just the title on the line today. There's a bit of a side bet.
Yeah, well, if Mika and I bowl in the title match, the loser has to wear these on the next show they make.
Surprisingly, he found them online and on sale.
Hard to believe Barnes found it on sale.
Oh, boy. Your phone's going to start lighting up. Back-to-back opening jacks for the defending champ here in Columbus, Chris Barnes. His 6th telecast of the season, still looking for his first title. Finished 2nd in the opening event of the season, the PBA World Championship. He lost to Norm Duke in the final of that one back in October. Koivuniemi has not won since the Daido Japan Cup in 07. What's important about the Daido Japan Cup, Randy? Oof, heavy was Mika.
You got me.
It's my first ever bowling event, and boy, did it show.
Well, this is the last thing that Mika wanted to see in the title match, the 3-6-9-10. It's the toughest non-split spare conversion out here, and it's because of that back pin, the 9-pin. He's going to have to throw a hook ball into this and hope to cover that back pin.
Lucky.
Got it! Stays clean as Koivuniemi. 10th year on the tour. 8 tour titles on his resume. 2 majors versus Barnes. 10 tour titles. Also 2 majors. Longtime friends. Roommates on the road. The 7 to kick. His 2nd strike.
Recovers nicely from the 3-6-9-10, and the head pin goes to the sidewall. Another pin bumps that 7 out. Mika, strike, spare, strike to start the title match. Barnes perfect through 2.
The 10. Barnes finished 5th last week at the Atonic Marathon Open. Looked like he had an insurmountable lead over Bill O'Neill and then started losing some things. We asked him yesterday, what do you take away from him? He said, I watch it. I'm lunging when I hit hard and don't get the drop that I need. I'm in a better position now, a little bit more in the middle. It's just something I got to kind of keep fighting through. And he's had to fight mentally a little bit through this. Again, we said the good news, bad news. Good news, you're on TV. Bad news, you're not getting the title, and it's playing on him a little bit.
Yeah, after a while, you just have to ask yourself, how much of this is now just so embedded in his psyche? Right. You know, every time that he gets into this situation, bad things happen. He makes a bad shot. He gets a bad break, over and over and over again, and that's hard to shake off. But if one guy can do it, that man can.
And again, he won here last year in Columbus. Back on the strike train.
And Rob, leading back to what you were talking about and some of the things that he learned last week against Bill O'Neill, the lunging and the pulling up at the foul line primarily happens when he's trying to throw it hard. Today, he doesn't have to do that. Also, he's got some really good karma going in this building. You know, this is pretty much where he captured and maintained the Player of the Year award by winning in this tournament in this center.
His win in Columbus last year vaulted him over Walter Ray Williams Jr. for first in the Player of the Year standings, and he stayed there through the remainder of the season. Koivuniemi needs another spare conversion here in the fourth. Talking to Mika yesterday, so the first half of the season, I was kind of happy with the bowling. The second half started not so good, to put it lightly.
I had a bad luck, and a couple of guys bowled really good against me last year shows, and this year been quite a tough year for me, taking so long to make my first show, but I'm ready and get my payback.
Payback. It's like everything's always personal with him, with just the tone he has. I love it.
And you know, the thing about it most people don't realize is Mika is an extremely funny guy.
He came in very confident yesterday, saying happy to be here. It's been too long. But just with the accent enough, puts you on edge, a little Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque. Leaves the 10. Koivuniemi with a 266 in Eliminator match number 2 had 10 strikes, 6 to open and 4 to close. Will not be the same here in the finals versus Chris Barnes.
Well, I think after that shot, Mika's kind of glad that he only left the 10 pin because that ball looked like it was backing up when it got to the 1-3. Remember, though, in between matches, the players got about 5 minutes of practice. So the lanes continue to go through transition. As the players move towards the center part of the lane, I think it's a huge advantage for Chris Barnes. 1, because he's got a higher rev rate. 2, because he's throwing 16 pounds. He's going to be able to get his equipment to hit harder.
Barnes came into the day 1-6 on television, but 0 for his last 5. Was the 3rd seed coming into today and is in control here in the title match. Strike number 4 of the finals.
Massive messenger. The head pin's going to go to the sidewall and just absolutely cremate the 10. And that's enough to get you pumped up. Looking to take a 30-pin lead with another strike here in the 6th. See how much harder that ball hits, Rob? That in itself can be intimidating to an opponent.
No fist bumping with Mika Koivuniemi after that strike. Again, those two essentially teammates for the first 2 matches today to knock off the 2 lefties to get here to the all-righty title match.
Not anymore. Mika's lost the right lane. 2 out of the last 3 shots have gone high, 1 ringing 10 in between. And right now he's in a heap of trouble, my friend. Watch this one go through the face. Good break of only leaving the 10 pin.
He's got a pair of bad slacks waiting for him. After today's event, just 2 more PBA stops until the 66th edition of the U.S. Open. Friend Norm Duke, your reigning champ. Coverage Sunday, April 5th begins at 1 Eastern on ESPN. That is now a special 2-hour telecast. Now, what a great moment that was last year in New Jersey. Back in Columbus. Koivuniemi to begin the 7th.
Come on.
This is now looking to be 4 straight spares, and it may be done early for Major Mika.
Really good shot there, another ringing 10. And all of a sudden now this title is starting to look like it's beginning to get gift wrapped for Chris Barnes. Remember, he is your defending champion, and Chris Barnes has never successfully defended a title out here.
Barnes also defending Player of the Year. We asked him about the Player of the Year point race, and he was pretty blunt. He said, "I don't think I'm still in it."
With 3 events left in Wes Malott way out in front, I really only see 2 guys that'll actually challenge Wes, and that would be Norm Duke and Patrick Allen.
Barnes, if he does hold on and win, will move up to 5th in the Player of the Year points race with 37 points. Lays down a ham bone in the final.
That puts Chris Barnes in the 230s right now. The best Mika Koivuniemi can shoot is 227. One more strike for Chris Barnes will be in the 240s, and he'll be able to put it on cruise control. Looking for his 11th career tour title.
And the first of this season on his 6th telecast. Leaves the 7. This is the 4th time Barnes has made 3 consecutive shows. In 2000, he made 5 straight shows, but won none of those.
Stay in the moment, convert the spare, stay clean, and you win your 11th title. Quite honestly, this is the type of performance we're seeing today out of Chris Barnes that you would expect based on what you see during the week and how dominant he is on a weekly basis out here. This is the kind of stuff you expect to see him do. And unfortunately for Chris, it just hasn't been that way. Today, however, different story.
And then Mika leads that. He's breaking out a lot of Finnish vocabulary right now, and this is being televised back in Finland. Some people are probably laughing at the words he is choosing because I don't know what they are, but I don't think they're warm and hospitable.
Laughing or cringing.
Yeah.
And right now, Mika just looking to get out of the way. Chris Barnes is going to win this tournament. And unfortunately for Mika, the next time we see him, it'll be in a very ugly pair of slacks.
This Don Johnson Buckeye State Eliminator is one of 5 tournaments that make up the PBA Extreme Swing. Next up, the Go RVing Match Play Championship in Norwich, Connecticut, March 22nd. Kind of a March Madness type bracket. And then the title, the TV show, is Best Out of 3 Total Pins. And if you're there in Norwich on Saturday, bonus bowling event.
Featuring you. And some of your friends, I hear.
The Hambone Invitational.
Oh, gosh. Well, it was a nice run for Mika up until this match, and he really started to fall apart, especially on that right lane. And now it's moved over into the left. Chris Barnes just dominating this title match.
And Barnes steady all afternoon long here in Columbus. He won match number 1 with a 238, had a 235 in match 2 to move on to the title match, and 66-pin lead, and the defending champ has defended.
What a dominating performance in this title match.
even heavy, and he gets them all to drop.
That lane started to hook so much for me.
Yeah, I know.
I had to get away.
They were teammates for the better half
Next
of this
week,
afternoon.
when he's on the show again.
I know people rooting for me to get show now.
Yeah.
Mika saying they're rooting for me to get on the show because Mika will be sporting the Madras pants the next time he's on television. Another strike for your winner, Chris Barnes. Mika drops him too. Great crowd here in Columbus. I don't know if we've given them enough props, but they are all on their feet, packed in here. One of the larger crowds we've had all season here. And Barnes closes with a four-bagger. And tour title number 11.
Harry the Tiger Smith grabs a hold of him.
It's like Don Cherry.
One Hall of Famer to a future Hall of Famer right there.
Great job. Thanks, Roy.
Tim Voss.
Man.
Jimmy Johnson. The last time he won was last year around this time in Columbus. He's got the title and the pants to hand off to Mika. 258-172, your final. PBA takes a week off, and then we'll be in Norwich, Connecticut for the Go RVing Match Play Championship live coverage, 1 Eastern, March 22nd, right here on ESPN. Chris Barnes, dominant and steady throughout the day. Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour title number 11 in the books, and his first of the season. And Barnes now number 5 in the Player of the Year points race with 37. For Randy Peterson and our entire crew, I'm Rob Stone. Thanks for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.